Hi everyone, I'm Chris Martenson of Peak Prosperity. This is your weekly update. It is Friday, May 5th, 2017, Cinco de Mayo. Now, look, I keep focusing on the markets around the world because this is where a lot of people get their clues from. Hey, if Facebook and Amazon are rising in price, things must be good, right? Hey, look, the European stock markets all went up because Marine Le Pen apparently is going to lose to her competitor Macron in the French elections, and this is very exciting to the markets, but I'm putting up air quotes because we have to understand that the markets aren't markets anymore. And the reason they're not is that the powers that be are very interested in seeing financial asset prices rise because that will signal to you that everything's okay, and then you will borrow more money and you'll buy more. Borrow and buy, borrow and spend. That's the loop. Meanwhile, the people who are propping the markets up and all of their friends are getting fantastically rich in the whole process, but that's okay. They can justify it to themselves because they're just trying to make you feel good, so you'll borrow and spend more because we have to do this thing called economic growth. We have to have it. It's never questioned. You read any newspaper, listen to any politician, all they want to do with the earnestness in their hearts, like they're saving baby seals, they want to create jobs, they want people to get into homes, they want more cars sold. But if you watch what's happening here, it's pretty clear. That is a story that literally not only doesn't have a future, it's got a bad future and then no future, because we're going to grow ourselves right off of this planet. We're going to continue to paint happy talk in the markets while the soils erode out into the sea, while the aquifers get depleted, while species continue to disappear at alarming rates, while the entire ecological sphere is being degraded. Meanwhile, debt levels are climbing. And why people think they can ignore this just economically is beyond me. But here's why I say markets, why they're so high right now. Were you aware that $250 billion a month is being printed out of thin air by world central banks and pouring that into the financial markets just to keep them elevated, keep them higher a little bit longer, hopefully so that global growth can return, which means you buying more and spending more and borrowing more and doing all of that, right? That's the game as it stands. Now, if we rewind a little bit though, we can look at some of the base data that exists for us across the Western world, and we'll notice things like rising levels of obesity, low levels of reported happiness, extremely low levels of job satisfaction. Less than 1 in 3 people reports being at all satisfied with their job, rising levels of suicides, opiate addictions, things like that, all of which are markers to say, this isn't really working for us. And yet, the narrative is we have to keep doing this, and we're going to keep doing this. It's sort of in that line from that movie, beatings will continue until morale improves, right? We're just going to keep whipping these markets higher and higher until people finally settle down and just get back to buying and borrowing and spending and doing all of that. Now, that is a recipe for future disaster. It just is. We're not investing in the things we should be investing in at this point in time. We should be spending our money figuring out how we're going to inhabit a future, which isn't that far away, when fossil fuels are in decline. Here's a number, 22. If you're 22 years old, you've been alive when half of all the oil in human history has been burned. There are 10 calories of fossil fuel inputs into every calorie of food that you eat. We are 7.4 billion people heading to 9 billion on this planet. This is the context for everything that's happening in the world right now. And so yes, I deplore the efforts that the central bankers are making to just prop the markets up. I know they have the power to do that, and they've got a printing press, and trust me, if I had a printing press, I could drive up the price of anything I wanted to. I get what they're doing and why, but they are so seriously misguided, it's not even funny. Now, if they succeed, they fail. If they fail, they fail. It's just a question of timing. If they succeed, they fail because ultimately they just drive things until we collapse all of our ecosystems. If they fail, what we're going to get is an absolute collapse in the markets that's going to make what happened in 2008 look like a walk in the park. Because instead of falling off the 5th ladder rung, we're going to fall off the 50th ladder rung. Where we had this much debt in the world, now we have this much. Where there was this much trust, I think, in the system before, all of that's gone. So there's nothing down there to pad us when we fall. People do not trust the political situation or the monetary authorities or any of that stuff. So the central banks have actually created enormous harm in the world. We've got another report at Peak Prosperity right now, and it's talking about how, well, there was one written by Adam Taggart a few weeks ago called Bankers Are Evil. It's sort of, he's building on that theme, and we're really talking about what the financial service industry has done, first to us and soon to itself. A little bit of Schadenfreude going to go on there as we watch the financial services industry destroy itself. This is where short-term thinking gets you. So with that, I just want to redirect you to peakprosperity.com. Check out all our material there. You can subscribe to this site and this channel here. And if you are interested in deeper analysis, come on by to Peak Prosperity, enroll, and there you'll find all of our deepest analysis about what's happening in the world. So with that, I'm Chris Martenson. I'll see you next week.